everybody, welcome back to another one of my YouTube videos. And if you're watching this for the very first time, my name is Maria and I'm a wellness blogger, motivational speaker, and author of a guided wellness journal called One Ray. Typically, I'm sitting upright and looking very full of life, but today I'm healing my back from a back injury, so I'm a little more cozy on my couch. And if you haven't noticed yet, I have a special guest with me. This is McKenna. She is a videographer, photographer, and social media expert, also the assistant face behind the brand of Maria Fitness. So I'm super lucky that she's here to join me today as we dive into one of the topics that has been most recommended by you that I don't feel necessarily comfortable speaking on because I haven't been through it. So to find out what today's video is, go ahead and hit the subscribe button below before we start, and here we go. Okay, so today's video is all about postpartum body, postpartum thoughts, and just really feeling like you're not alone in your journey after having a baby. So today we're going to dive into some of the topics of what her experience was really like in giving birth and handling postpartum in a multitude of ways. As you guys always are, please be kind and courteous in your comments below as McKenna is sharing her heart and sharing really her experience with you. And in my eyes, that's one of the most brave things a person could possibly do. She's not looking for feedback, she's just sharing her heart with us. So as always, please be kind. I really want to start by asking, what was it like going through carrying and delivering a baby? I guess we should start with like the beginning of what leads to postpartum.
I feel like my whole life I always wanted to be a mother, like for sure. But for some reason, like I thought that there was like some split chance that like my body was just not able to do it for whatever reason, just because I've never done it before. So when I actually got pregnant, I was like really surprised. Knew my body was gonna change, and I wasn't necessarily worried about that because I knew what was going to be coming at the end of it.
Yeah.
And I knew everything was going to be worth it because I was literally making a human, which is incredible.
Yeah.
So being pregnant was really, really awesome. I really didn't have that many issues being pregnant. Everything went pretty smoothly. It was a very magical time. I felt like I was glowing in so many ways.
Your whole pregnancy was like just, it like brought you out of your shell almost in a way that I've never experienced.
I just really liked it a lot. I really enjoyed being pregnant.
That's awesome to hear because that's something that like I'm not ashamed to admit I'm afraid of. And I'm afraid of the things leading up to it. And like you said, like it was something that you were made to do, but you also had this thought of like why did you feel like you weren't able to do it? Because I feel that way too, for no reason at all. Like I'm a healthy person.
Yeah. You know, you hear stories about people all the time of like that, you know, can't have babies and they have complications and, you know, for whatever reason, either partner, if you can't have a child. So I guess I just like was worried that something like that was going to happen to me.
Yeah.
And I didn't want that to happen because I knew that I wanted a child at some point. So I guess I was just afraid that like for whatever reason I wasn't going to be able to do it.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. And kind of stemming off of that, a lot of people who have requested a video of postpartum have inquired about watching their bodies change. Either a woman is afraid to watch her body change, and I know you said you weren't afraid of that. What would you tell someone, or what did you tell yourself to coach yourself on, I'm gonna look different, like if you weren't so okay with it?
I mean, I hear you talk about this all the time. We talk about this just in regular conversation, like your mindset about it going into it was everything to me. Like I could have so easily been upset about knowing how much my body was going to change. I could have. And don't get me wrong, like I've had thoughts run through my head like that before about how my body was going to change. And even looking at myself in the mirror when I was 8-9 months pregnant. I mean, it's sometimes hard to look at yourself in the mirror like that because you look so different so fast than what you did,
gosh, absolutely.
you know, a few months ago. You're doing the most natural thing that a human could ever do.
Oh,
like,
that's good.
your body was meant to do this. It doesn't matter when you look like when you first are holding your child. So
yeah, and I'm sure that's something you don't realize until you get there. Like, you're always thinking about the what if before you actually do it, and that's something you realize. So that's a sound piece of advice. How has having a baby shaped you, how you view yourself as a wife, as a woman, as a mother, in all of those different hats? Because I think sometimes when women have children, they are now identified as a mother, and they may like lose themselves kind of in that role. So how do you view yourself now after having that experience?
I feel like I'm like Wonder Woman.
Yes! Oh my gosh, that's so good.
Like, I feel like I just love it. I really love being a mom. I feel like I was always meant to be a mom, and I knew that when I became a mom that it was going to be something I was really going to enjoy.
That's awesome. So. And it's funny, Tony always says, he calls it the mom confidence. Like, he says women kind of glow different when they're a mom because they have that mom confidence. They don't really let things get to them or whatever it might be. They just like he'll point out, he'll say, oh, she's got the mom confidence. And it's funny you say that because that describes exactly what it is, and it's something unique. It's like part of a club. Before we get into the deep stuff, I want to know, because I know that they're going to be the first to ask, what did you do? And I personally know this, you lost the baby weight so fast. What did you personally do to do that?
I feel like it maybe wasn't the healthiest way to do it. I feel
like, to admit.
Yeah, I feel like because I was so focused on her that I almost like didn't take care of myself as much as I normally would have, because I was so focused on taking care of her and making sure everything was okay with her.
Really?
That I wasn't eating nearly as much as I probably should have.
Really?
Yes, and I also heard that breastfeeding like boosts your metabolism and stuff like that. So I did breastfeed for an entire year. So I mean, that potentially could have something to do with it.
Yeah.
The whole time that I was pregnant, I just like knew that I was going to go back to what I was before.
Again, back to the mindset.
Back to the mindset.
Yeah.
I just knew it. Like, I was like, I'm going to gain weight. I gained like 35 pounds, which is like a normal amount for somebody to gain when they're pregnant. And I just knew, like, I was like, I don't want to have extra weight on me. That's just not how I want to see myself. So I didn't. You
didn't try, you just made up your mind.
Yeah, I just made it happen. I just didn't let myself have this extra weight. And I'm not like trying to say that I purposely wasn't eating a lot.
No, I think that's a very real thing when you're so consumed with now somebody else. You've maybe never taken care of somebody in the way that you are your child. It's tough because I feel for both sides. Some women would love to lose that weight and they just can't. It's almost like their body is fighting them. Yeah. It's nice to hear that not everybody, because I always assume it's going to be so hard just because like you always just hear of people who have such a hard time doing it. It's refreshing to hear kind of on another level that the mindset, again, has so much to do with it, because that's what we talk about in every single day. And it's awesome that you had that mindset shift of like the distraction of focusing on something else, because that's something that I talk about often is filling a void. Sometimes people fill voids, understandably, past traumas or whatever it might be. They fill that with food, and now when you feel like your life's purpose is filled with that, you're not looking for things outside.
That makes sense.
My next question is, did you experience postpartum depression at all?
I would say no. Definitely had hard months.
Really?
Oh, yes. Around when she was about 2 months old, accepting that I couldn't do anything else at that moment. I needed to be 100% focused on her. I understand what they felt, because it's really hard when your life changes so fast like that. Just because I was so focused on her, like everything was about her, and I felt like I had no free time.
Yeah.
And that was really hard for me. I felt like I couldn't do the normal things that I wanted to do. Me and you talk about how we really like alone time.
Yes.
And just that, like,
Yes.
just sitting there and doing nothing.
Yes.
Really, just like hanging out with yourself.
Yes.
And I
love
couldn't do that. Like, that was like not a possibility for a decent amount of time, and that was really hard for me. And that was the most time that I felt upset. I looked up so much stuff when she was first born because, like, I'm a first-time mom, so, like, I didn't really know anything. So I was searching everything up. What's this? What's that? What's she doing? You know, is this okay? When I would look up the stuff, I read actually a lot of things about how you need to take care of yourself first.
Absolutely.
In order to take the best care of your child.
And that's just a collective for life.
Yes.
Forever, no matter what stage
For
you're
any
in.
situation, yes. But it really stuck to me when I was taking care of her, because that's when it was really true for me.
Absolutely.
Like, that was the truest that statement had ever been to me. Getting up and just, like, putting on a new pair of clothes and brushing your hair.
Yes.
And brushing your teeth changes your entire day.
Yes.
You feel so different.
I get it. And especially like people who work, because when I was working, I always thought this. I would always think like, man, if I could just have like 2 weeks at home, like in my PJs, I would feel so good. And I do have it now, and I don't feel good.
Yeah.
Like you think you will. So it's interesting that you like had enough sense of like, okay, I have to do this to make myself feel good. What would you tell yourself before you were pregnant about the lies you would have to push through that society puts on you? Like, I'm sure you got people who are like, oh, get ready for this, or you're gonna have this, or how do you feel? Like,
everyone
what would you
likes to say stuff like that?
And it's honestly like people mean well, but it doesn't always come out with the same intention. And I'm guilty of that. Like, I've done that to my friends. I've probably done that to you at some point. Like, you mean it well, and it comes out. Like, what would you tell yourself looking back on how to push through the societal standards? And also, what do you think about the societal standards? Like, what is your stance on it?
I've always heard very, very terrible things about stretch marks.
Yeah.
Just very terrible things.
There's commercials like, don't want stretch marks. I'm pretty sure that's a commercial.
I'm sure. So my mom has lots of stretch marks, like a lot of stretch marks.
Well, and she had what?
She had 3
kids.
children, yes. People would say things to her about the stretch marks.
Oh, that's
and
so
it
sad.
made her, like, you know, really embarrassed about them and stuff. And I could tell, like, as a child that she hated them. And that made me, like, scared to get them, because I was like, oh, my mom has them, so I'm going to get a lot of stretch marks too. Once I got pregnant and once I started to get them, when I first started to get them, I was like, oh God, like my first stretch marks. Like, I was like, oh no. I wanted to look at them in a positive way, almost because I knew there was nothing I could do about it. I knew I wasn't going to be able to stop them from happening. It's a natural thing that happens when your body goes through changes really fast. I refused to listen to my negative thoughts about it, because
that's powerful.
I knew it wasn't going to get me anywhere good, and I just didn't like it. So now I look at them and I love them. Like, I absolutely love them. I love the way that they look. It's almost like a trophy for me for giving birth. Like,
wow.
I really
profound.
like them a lot, actually. Like, I've grown to love them so much. They make me who I am. They make me a mom, and they make me, I feel like they make me powerful. Like,
what a profound, and people say that about tattoos.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a natural tattoo. Maybe that's a weird way to say it.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I could see that.
But I think that's amazing, because we're taught to hate so many things about our bodies as women. For you to come out, like, publicly at all, even privately, to say that this is something that I believe in, makes me inspired for someday when I do have them. I mean, I have them on my legs, but for when I have them, you know, from carrying children, that's something that will stick to me. By you embracing that, you also give a safe space for other women to also acknowledge that.
I'm glad. I hope that I do. I saw my mom, the way that my mom looked at her stretch marks and how embarrassed she was of them. And when we would go to the pool,
Yeah.
and the bathing suit she would wear would completely cover her body and everything. And I just would think about that, and I don't like that. I don't like that she felt like that, and I think that's a big reason of why I look at mine so positive, because I just don't think it's right. That made me want to embrace them even more. Like, I wanted to be like, hey, look at me. Like, I have stretch marks, and I like them.
It's powerful that you were able to break a generational norm. Not that it was a bad thing that she hated hers, but I think that you being able to have a different perspective than she did, that speaks wonders. My mom has struggled with body image just as a whole in the past, and that's carried over to me in certain ways. And it also, like, I can share in how you feel about wanting to make that one of your favorite things instead of making it one of the things you're ashamed of, and that's amazing. That's my favorite part of this whole interview. So what's your favorite part? Like, specifically, what's your favorite part of being a mom? Either carrying her or having her. Like, what's your favorite part?
The affection that we give towards each other.
Well, and she's so affectionate. Like, she is a mushy little
it would surprise me if she wasn't, because we give her so much love.
You could tell.
Going on hikes together and like watching movies together and like getting into TV shows, or like painting our nails together, like things like that. Those are just the best things to me. I love like the one-on-one connection.
It's always like you look forward to that. Like, when you think about having kids, you always look forward to the affection.
It's just the best thing in the
world. And
world.
she does the cutest thing where she'll just run up to you and like hug your neck.
Yeah.
She just like hang right on you. What would you, if you were to give somebody who is pregnant one piece of advice that you wish you knew back then on any front, what would that be?
If I could do it again, I would take help from people, because like I said before, I did have, sad thoughts about not being able to have my alone time like I had before.
Yeah.
And I potentially could have been maybe more happier or more put together if I did let that person watch her for a few hours, so that I could take the time to take a shower and everything.
The simple things.
Yes. So I would definitely say take the help from your mom or your friend or whatever, and let them watch your baby on the couch for a few hours while you go take a shower and do your makeup or whatever and try and feel better.
I'm wired the same way that you are, in the sense that I don't like to take help. And I know many of my friends are the same way. Some of them aren't, some of them are. I don't like to take help. I don't like to admit of like it feels like a weakness almost.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way, just like it's instinctual. So that's really good advice. Well, and it's so easy coming from my perspective. It sounds like, oh, duh, like that makes so much sense. But it's like once you're in the perspective, I'm sure it's totally different.
Yes, especially if it's a hard thing for you to do.
Yeah.
To take help from people, because I still struggle with it, and it sounds like you do too. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I don't even have kids yet. Well, no, I think that's good though. And it's funny you say it's going to be like your piece of advice where it's going to be really hard for the first few months and then it's going to get easier. Yes. That's something, we talk about for exercising. Like, a lot of the women in this community have a blog or are starting their business. Same thing with that. Like, it's always it seems like a common theme that I'm noticing in many aspects of life, motherhood included, where it's really hard for the first few months, always across the board.
Yeah,
no matter what it's
I would completely agree. I feel like I didn't fully learn that in order to build another healthy habit goal that you want, that you have to do it for a long period of time before it actually sticks. I feel like I didn't know that until I started watching all of your content. I felt like if I just did it sometimes here and there, that I would eventually build the habit, but that's not how it works. You have to do it.
In your head, it's like, because I've been there too, I'm doing it, so therefore I should build the habit, but you're not aware that you're not doing it enough.
Yes.
And it feels like enough.
Exactly.
But it's not, and that's something that every single person ever that exists feels the exact same way. Like we were talking about the other day, how your gift comes so naturally to you, like whatever your purpose is here on earth, whatever it may be. Many people haven't even discovered what theirs are yet. It comes so naturally to you that you don't even think twice. Like yours is social media, building social media accounts, that just comes so naturally, photography, all of that. Whereas for me, building a habit comes like that. And when I tell people, or when we talk about it, because usually people respond better to watching someone in their process. I know that I do. Watching someone's vlog where they're actually doing the process of whatever it is, like you're watching them work out, you're watching them make their smoothie. That inspires me more than someone telling me to do it.
Yeah.
It sounds like they're yelling at me. So your gift, whatever it is, like I think for me it's healthy habit building, that comes so naturally, and it's cool. It's like full circle to hear that that is transcribed to people who watch it.
Since it does come so naturally to you, you maybe don't even realize that people don't know.
Correct.
You need to be doing this every single day.
Every day.
And
every day.
And yeah, I'm telling you right here, like I didn't know that before. Like I really did not know that.
And I don't judge anybody who feels that way, because that's just not common knowledge. We're not taught that in school.
Right.
You know, it also comes with a layer of being self-aware, and a lot of people just don't understand the self-awareness component. I hope to be almost a mirror, so that like the things that like I say, or the things that come across as like, look at yourself, you know, like actually evaluate where you're at, and like what meaning does the healthy habits take on now that you do have a daughter? Like, does it make you like want to model it for her? Like what?
Definitely. I want to be better of a person for her, and so that she does that for herself. So she sees what's going on, and I want to teach her those things too. Yeah. As I'm learning and as I'm doing them, like I want to show her how I do it, and you know, we could do it together. You know,
mother-daughter bike rides.
Yeah.
So on our live video, I think it was last week, and I didn't even know this about you. You had mentioned about having a chronic bladder condition, and I am somebody that has a bladder that's like this big, and I drink almost a gallon of water a day, so I'm constantly running to the restroom. What is your condition? What's going on?
About 6 weeks-ish after she was born, the symptoms are the exact same symptoms of a urinary tract infection.
Oh my gosh.
The exact same symptoms, except there is no infection. What it is, it's called interstitial cystitis. It's like inflammation of the bladder. Yeah. And there's flare-ups, and stress makes it so much worse.
Oh gosh.
So I feel like when she was born and I was going through such a life-changing, stressful time, that like intensified my pain so much more, and it was really tough. I feel like now that I'm kind of in a flow of, you know, being a mom, I've been doing it for a year, you know, almost 2 years now. I kind of feel like I've found ways to change my mindset about the pain. So when I'm having a really bad flare-up, I think to myself, I'm making this worse by stressing myself out. I say to myself,
yes,
you are making this worse yourself. Yes. I'm doing this to myself. Yes, I do feel the pain, but I'm making it worse by focusing on it so much. So in a situation like that, I typically will lay down and like maybe like practice breathing a little bit to just calm down my stress.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily to like calm down the pain, because that won't calm down the pain, but calming down the stress will help calm down the pain.
Well, you eliminate the problem instead of trying to soothe the symptoms.
Having a child and having a chronic illness is extremely hard. And I guess I just wanted to say that I like feel for anybody who, I feel like I'm gonna start crying.
That's fine. It's a brave thing to share.
I guess I just want to say that I feel for anybody
Yeah.
who has a chronic illness, just in general.
Yeah.
But me being diagnosed with it right after my daughter was born,
Oh my God.
going through so many life changes and everything, and going through so much pain from that. I guess I just wanted to say that I feel for you, and you're not alone, and it really helped for me to reach out to support groups that have the same condition as me, and just kind of, you know, read what other people are saying. It makes you feel better that you're not the only person who has it.
Oh, absolutely. And it's an added stress. I mean, you're a brand new mom. You're in physical pain 24/7. I mean, that's a layer that, like, honestly, those stretch marks are more than superpowers at this point for living through and being able to talk about it from the top. You know, you were in that space for so long, you probably didn't even want to talk about it at all, more or less acknowledge it was there, and now you're actually in a place where you're like, that, like, you can do it because you experienced that. I mean, it gives me chills, the fact that you're sharing it with us. The way that the pelvis is modeled, and I went to school for health, so that's why, your organs are, it's kind of like a bowl of soup, and your organs are just sort of like alphabet soup. Your organs are the alphabet. And the ligaments in your pelvis wrap around like the bowl. And when you give birth, there's so much laxity in the ligaments, it pushes all of the organs aren't attached to anything. So when you give birth, it's pushing all of, I'm sure the doctors have told you this, it's pushing everything in all different directions. So the amount of stress the bladder had to go through, being able to sit here and acknowledge it and talk about it is huge, huge. And on that note, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe to the little red button below, and let us know in the comments what your favorite part about this video is, what you relate to, especially if you're a woman, especially if you're a mother. And just as always, thank you for your time. That was really good.